to move on to Thom Brennaman. If you don't know this story, he's on a suspension right now with the Reds as the play-by-play guy. This was Thom Brennaman live on the air. He didn't know he was on a hot mic live. Listen to what he said on the air. This might be offensive to some people. Have a listen.
The fag capitals of the world. Reds Live, the pregame show presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing.
Just unbelievable. Shocking, to say the least. So now there's a lot more follow-up than what you might think. Immediately, he was suspended, right? Immediately, but they didn't say he was fired. But Fox NFL, this guy does nationally televised NFL games play-by-play. He's a pro. He's been doing it for a long time. They have since fired him. He said, I used a word that is both offensive and insulting. In the past 24 hours, I have read about its history. I had no idea it was so rooted in hate and violence, and am particularly ashamed that I, someone who makes his living by the use of words, could be so careless and insensitive. It's a word that should have no place in my vocabulary, and I will certainly never utter it again. Okay, let me start over here. You're telling me that this is a man who had no idea that using that homophobic slur was, kind of a hateful word? I find that hard to believe.
No, not just hard to believe. I don't believe it. I think
he's lying, isn't he?
I think he's lying, yeah. I
got to tell you something. I got to be honest. After his response, I hope he gets fired. And now he's been fired from NFL.
That's a pretty bad response, to be honest. That's a really and the one part of that response that was reasonable was that it shouldn't be in his vocabulary, which is true. But the fact that he didn't know that word,
he does know.
And I'm not saying and that word obviously means different things to different people.
Can we be honest here?
But
he does know.
Obviously he knows what that word implies and who that word could specifically offend. He knows that.
Here's the thing: if he had said, "Listen, I didn't mean it as a derogatory statement towards people who are gay, but it is a word that is derogatory, and I should never have said it, and I'm sorry." But for him to say that he didn't know that the word was rooted in hate makes him look like a complete buffoon.
Not just a buffoon. I mean, it makes it seem like he is taking his audience intelligence for granted.
Well, you know what I think he's doing?
Are people that dumb to actually think that he's telling the truth? Because they're not. They're just not.
We might be taking it too far. Here's the way I'll take it. I just think he's trying to cover his own ass.
Yeah, but I hope he has if that's a PR firm that somebody hired, like say the Reds hired to help him.
I don't think he did. I don't know. Trust me, there's nobody in the Reds organization that's trying to help him right now.
Well,
Trust me.
I don't know. If I was in that organization, I would try to help him.
It's a man that showed his true colors. First of all, he knew it was a hateful word. He used it. That's number one. Number two, now he's saying, I didn't know the word. That's come on, give me a break here, ladies and gentlemen. Give me a break.
And that's how you get fired. You're right. That's how you get fired. I still don't think he should have been fired. I think it should have been an apology, maybe a couple days, maybe a week suspension from both sides across the board, and then some diversity or inclusion training. I think, or maybe some type of act within, or some service to the gay community. Something along those lines to me would have made sense. I don't think firing was a necessary move, but when you make a response like that and play dumb and pretend like you don't know what that word means when you've been in the real world for probably 50 years, that's how you get yourself just fired across the board.